guys, in today's video we are talking all about cruising during hurricane season. This is the cheapest time to cruise. You're gonna get those phenomenal discounts. I mean, like half to 75% off what you would pay during the peak season. So it's definitely cost effective to set sail during this time. However, it does come with a few risks, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's begin with some of the pros, the best parts of cruising during this time. And when I say hurricane season, I'm not talking about the entire season, mainly just the peak months. So August, September, October. And one benefit is that there's significantly less children and just overall crowds on board. August, September, October, the kids get back to school. So you're on the boat, less lines, less crowds, less noise. I mean, I have kids and even this sounds enticing to me just because who wants to wait an hour to ride a water slide, right? Another pro is, of course, the price. As we mentioned earlier, it's the cheapest time to set sail. However, it's also the time when you can live your best life in terms of luxury. So if you've always dreamed of doing concierge or sailing on that super pricey cruise line that you would otherwise not be able to afford, now is the time to do it. I know a lot of people, their dream cruise is to go to Alaska or Hawaii or even the Mediterranean. And during the summer months, those prices are just not doable for them. So now is the time to take advantage of the cheaper price tag. Another pro to mention is that the weather is still relatively nice during this time, depending on the location that you're looking at. If you want to go to the Caribbean, the weather is fantastic. I mean, the water is literally warm like bath water. You're going to get good weather even if you sail to Bermuda. The best months to go to Alaska is June and July, sometimes August, and they price you accordingly. However, if you don't mind going to Alaska when it's raining just to get a cheaper ticket, then now is the time to go. The Mediterranean's weather is still beautiful. So just to recap, we're getting lower costs, less people on board, and amazing weather. Sign me up. So you think. There are some cons that I'm going to mention, and we're going to get into that in a second. But let me just add one more pro to the conversation. And that is, even if the weather is bad, even if a hurricane is coming your way, the chances of a cruise line canceling your vacation is slim to none. It would literally take the boat being damaged before it reaches you or your home port, so the port where you're going to embark, that port being closed because of weather, for your vacation to be canceled. And even then, it may just be delayed, but not outright canceled. Your itinerary may change, which we'll talk about in a second, but you will still be able to go on vacation, which I see as a pro. No cruise line is going to put their billion-dollar ship in harm's way of a hurricane. Yes, they care about you as a passenger and their crew, but their billion-dollar investment sailing on the ocean is their top priority. Let's be honest, they're not going to sail right into a storm. They just won't. Recently, I was on the Wonder of the Seas, and we actually encountered like a tropical depression, and we kind of sailed around it and stalled. So while we did have a little bit of rough seas, the ship was fine and we were fine. I believe in the safety of a cruise ship for the simple fact that they have so much technology on board that they can detect any storm or system, not just hurricanes, but just like tropical storms, anything that's, weather related, they can track and avoid accordingly. They move faster. These ships are they're like little weather hunters, okay? Like they can outrun a hurricane. They go faster than hurricanes. So in terms of your overall safety, I think you are absolutely fine to be on a cruise ship. Now, although there are no immediate concerns of safety when choosing to sail during this time, there are some cons that you should be mindful of when you are booking. The first is any travel delays that could occur. And I'm not necessarily talking about with the cruise ship per se. I'm thinking of flights. Airports are more likely to shut down when a hurricane is in that vicinity. Usually when there's a backup and a delay at an airport, it could take days for you to, get a flight out. So what I would recommend you do as a little tip is to make sure you have a backup plan. Never fly into a port the day of or even the day before, I think that's a little bit too risky, especially during hurricane season. You're better off flying in 2 to 3 days before, so that way if anything, goes awry, or unfortunately you cannot control Mother Nature, she's got her own mind, you can always find alternative plans to the port, even if you have to rent a car and drive. This is where I'm going to insert the little travel insurance spill. I will be very honest with you. I don't buy travel insurance for every cruise. I just don't. I mean, call it silly, call it crazy. I just don't. But when I'm sailing during hurricane season, you bet your boots I am booking and reserving some travel insurance. Whether you want to do it with the cruise or the travel agent, or if you have some deal. Some people have travel insurance with their jobs, whatever the case may be. I think travel insurance is a good idea if you're sailing during this time, because the likelihood of something not going according to plan is quite high. So if anything gets canceled or plans need to be rearranged, at least you will be financially covered. My second con that I'm going to mention is for all of those who, like me, get very anxious with rough seas. Now, even though a cruise ship will never sail right into a hurricane, we established that earlier, the chances of you encountering rough seas can be quite high if there's a hurricane knocking about. Even if it's hundreds of miles away, there's the wind and the waves. It can reach you, so you may get a little bit of rough seas. Truthfully, rough seas can happen at any point. It doesn't need a hurricane. So you're better to bring your Dramamine or your Bonine, whatever you use, to help with motion sickness if that's an issue for you. It's really the luck of the draw whether you'll have rough seas in September versus June. You just never know. So don't let the fear of that stop you. More so, be prepared with any medicine you may need and calm your nerves, have a drink, have a rum punch, and try to relax. Another con that I'll mention is the fact that you will have to probably be flexible if you choose to sail during this time. So if there is a hurricane brewing about on your itinerary path, chances are you will be diverted somewhere else. You may be rerouted if you were doing the western cruise to the eastern side and vice versa. If you were going to Bermuda and there was a hurricane in the Atlantic, sometimes they reroute you to Maine and Nova Scotia in Canada. So be open to the fact that you may not see that port that you were really hoping for. And honestly, if this is something that will deter you, be mindful of that too. There are even times where the cruise ship may not go to any port because of the weather, and you're just having another at-sea day. So the flexibility is definitely needed, and you're going to need to kind of book at your own risk, essentially. Because even if you read the cruise contract, the fine reading, the terms and conditions that nobody reads, it tells you that nothing is guaranteed in terms of which ports they stop at. I know I've been on board before, and it'll be high winds, and then the cruise ship can't stop at Coco Cay or Castaway Key, and passengers are angry and upset. They want a refund, or they want, the cruise itinerary to be readjusted. Well, it tells you in the fine print that they are not doing that. So here's where I'm going to add a few more tips to help you should Mother Nature decide to act like a on your vacation. 1, make sure to pack some extra clothing should you have to stay on the cruise ship a little bit longer. Hooray! But if you're stuck at sea, you can't get back into your home port, you're going to need some more clothes, so make sure you pack accordingly. 2, consider putting aside some money as just like a buffer, an emergency fund, so that you are prepared if anything should go awry. Now, even though you may book travel insurance, that insurance usually reimbursed you, but the upfront cost of an extra hotel stay or rearranging a flight or just buying the internet package on board for an extra day or two to stay informed, you're going to have to pay upfront out of your own pocket. So it's always good to have a little emergency fund should your plans change. My third tip is to stay informed. Usually if any changes are going to happen, you'll see it on the app. Sometimes they'll email passengers. Also, joining the Facebook group of your specific sailing is a great way to stay informed. Usually some passengers will disseminate information that way. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and that you found it helpful in some way, and that your concerns about sailing during hurricane season have been alleviated. If you have found it helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would love to have you here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy sailing, everyone. Bye.